Derek Chisora recently appeared on Simon Jordan's podcast, and he insisted that he laid down the blueprint for how to beat Alexander Usyk when he fought him a couple years back. So to quote Del Boy directly, he said, "I think I showed everyone the blueprint of how to fight Usyk, but people have not chosen to use it. Be fit and use your size. I said that to Daniel Dubois and he didn't do it. For me, the thing with Usyk is that when he starts moving his hands up and down, you start moving with him, you're in trouble. What you need to do is just hit him when he moves his hands. He's very good, he's an amazing fighter, but if you let him be an amazing fighter, then he'll walk all over you." All right, those are the words of Derek Chisora. Now, he's not telling us anything that most of us didn't think anyway, but let's just unpack it a little bit. So, when Derek Chisora fought Alexander Usyk, he rushed him early on. He was like a bull in a china shop, head down, came in swinging big shots all over the place. And Usyk did look uncomfortable. He was being forced to fight at a pace that he wasn't used to against someone who was much bigger in terms of body mass than he was used to fighting, somebody who was much physically stronger than he was used to, and he did struggle for a couple rounds. Even though Derek Chisora for the most part wasn't landing anything clean, there was a big shot in one of the early rounds which actually hit Usyk on the chest. It didn't land on his face. It made a big slapping sound, but yeah, it was just a chest shot. It wasn't a head punch. Nevertheless, he ruffled Usyk's feathers. I thought Usyk won the fight quite clearly. I want to say at least 2 or 3 rounds, but there was a contingent out there saying that Derek Chisora got robbed and all this kind of stuff. I really don't buy it. If you go back and watch the fight, have a look closely, pay attention. It's on YouTube, I think, at who's actually landing what. And it's really hard to make a case for Derek Chisora winning that fight in my view. Nevertheless, he did have some success, particularly in the first half with that pressure. And this is an aging Derek Chisora. Now at the time, there were lots of people in the comments of my post-fight video. It's still up on my channel. There were lots of people saying, "Do you still think Usyk is a threat to the big heavyweights now, Hatman, after him struggling against Derek Chisora?" And I said, yes, absolutely. I still think he's a threat to the big heavyweights, the likes of Wilder, Joshua, Fury. People thought I was crazy for maintaining that position. But what I explained in the post-fight video, and maybe in a subsequent video as well around that time, is that Anthony Joshua is 6'6". He's much taller than Derek Chisora. Therefore, he's an easier target for Usyk. One of the things that gave Usyk so many issues against Chisora was the fact that Chisora comes in so low. He's about 6'1", couple inches shorter than Usyk is. And because he came in so low, Usyk was struggling to find the openings, the gaps. And Chisora has developed a style over the years of bobbing and weaving as he comes forward, like a poor man's Joe Frazier. Anthony Joshua don't move his head like that. Tyson Fury don't move his head like that. We've seen what Tyson Fury is like on the front foot. He will try and slip and slide and be as slick as he can as he comes forward, but he's 6'7", 6'8", whatever he is. He can't tuck up as small as Derek Chisora and get that low. None of these big guys can. So while they can apply pressure, and I think they all should be trying to apply pressure because it's pointless trying to outbox Usyk, in my view, if you're any of these big guys. They should be applying pressure, but it is easier said than done. They are big targets. They can't tuck up small like Chisora and bob, and they're not going to be able to do that as effectively as he did. But what they might be able to do, and I'm talking specifically about Fury now, is maintain the pressure for the 12 rounds, which is something Derek Chisora was not able to do. He had success for a few rounds, then he gassed out. And you can't gas out against Usyk. Usyk might be the physically fittest heavyweight in the division. Now, as far as what Derek Chisora said about Usyk's movement, yeah, he moves his hands, he moves his head, and he moves his feet all at the same time. And Derek Chisora was saying, you can't try to sync with Usyk's rhythm. That's an exercise in futility. That's a recipe for disaster. That's what Anthony Joshua tried to do, particularly in the first fight, is sync with Usyk's rhythm. You can't do it. There are too many moving parts. The feet are moving, the head's moving, the hands are moving, changing angles all over the place. A big guy just can't keep up with that. If you try to, you're going to get hypnotized and then you're going to get pinged all over the place. So what Derek Chisora was saying, and I certainly agree, is you have to disregard it. You have to just bull forward, be willing to take shots to land your own and punch through what Usyk is doing. Again, easier said than done. But I think that is the key to victory over him. If you're a big guy, if you're one of these small guys, maybe who comes up from cruiserweight and you got a load of skill as well, you might be able to box with Usyk. But if you're a big guy like Fury, no. In my estimation, you got to use what Derek Chisora did as a blueprint, but obviously you got to add your own flavor to it because you can't box exactly like him. You're much taller, you're a much bigger target. You don't have that kind of head movement. I mean, we've seen Tyson Fury box a pressure fight a few times. Obviously, he did it against Steve Cunningham, most famously, where he turned that fight around after being dropped early. But he also did it against Otto Wallin after he got caught, because he was boxing with Wallin for the first round or so. Then Wallin caught him with that left hand, which cut his eye. And after that, Fury abandoned the boxing, basically, and just started applying pressure against Wallin. And interestingly, he didn't get Wallin out of there, did he? Has Wallin got a really good chin? Is Wallin's chin better than Usyk's chin? Is Wallin tougher than Usyk? Because not only did Tyson Fury apply pressure in that fight, he was also up against the southpaw mover. So it'll be interesting to go back and watch that fight. I've seen it actually fairly recently, but for you guys, go back and watch Fury versus Wallin and try and imagine it was Usyk in there against Fury rather than Wallin. And you could say, well, that was a few years ago and Fury had maybe lost a bit too much weight. Okay, perhaps, or maybe he was younger and lighter and could therefore cut off the ring faster than he can now. Ever considered that? So that was another time when Fury applied pressure and fought as an out-and-out pressure fighter, at least for long stretches of that bout. And a third occasion would be the trilogy fight with Deontay Wilder, where again, he was circumspect for the first couple rounds, but after he dropped Wilder, and in fact, it was after Fury got off the canvas himself and got back in control of the fight, he was applying relentless pressure, working Wilder over on the inside. And there was some head movement there from Fury coming in, but he still got caught with a big right hand, if you guys remember. One of the knockdowns that Fury suffered in that fight came as he was trying to move his head, get close to Deontay Wilder on the inside, and Wilder timed him with a right, dropped him. Again, he's a big target. He's not Joe Frazier. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that Joe Frazier is necessarily a better fighter than Tyson Fury. I'm saying that styles make fights. Certain fighters are suited to particular styles more so than others. They're more effective at doing certain things. I don't think anyone could argue that Joe Frazier was far more effective at bobbing and weaving than Tyson Fury. But of course, Tyson Fury is far more effective than Joe Frazier was on the back foot, etc. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about Derek Chisora's comments on Alexander Usyk and claiming to have the blueprint or claiming to have demonstrated the blueprint to beating him. Do you think it's something that Tyson Fury can carry out? Or are you one of these people that thinks that Tyson Fury doesn't have to apply pressure against Usyk? Maybe you are convinced that he can actually outbox him. I think if there was ever a time when Fury might have been able to do it, and I'm not completely convinced he ever could have done it, but if there was a time when he might have been able to do it, it would have been way back in the days, the version of Fury who fought Klitschko. He might have been light enough and agile enough to actually outbox Usyk. But the version today, at least to my eye, is too heavy, not well coordinated enough. And Fury is very well coordinated for a man of his size, but compared to Usyk, no, not light enough on his feet. Fury can be light on his feet in a fight for a couple rounds these days at 270 plus pounds. But when you start getting to round 3, 4, 5, 6, mid rounds, he's actually quite flat footed. I mean, go and watch the Ngannou fight, even the Derek Chisora fight before it. After a couple rounds, Fury becomes a lot more flat-footed. It's very taxing at 35, whatever he is, years of age, with a load of injuries, miles on the clock, lugging around 270 plus pounds, especially when he doesn't have the most robust frame, Tyson Fury. You know, he's not built like a Joe Joyce, where he's got like really thick limbs and a naturally thick torso and a thick neck. Tyson Fury's not like that. He's actually naturally quite a slim guy. He doesn't have a lot of muscle mass on his legs and on his arms and so on. That's fat he's carrying around with him. That's weight that his joints aren't designed to hold. And he's doing all this running and impact training and all this kind of stuff. That is going to start manifesting itself. It already has, but it's going to start manifesting itself even more in his actual fights by way of slowdown as fights progress. As far as his movement goes, his hand speed might still be there, but his legs, they're going to go. And that's the old adage in boxing. The legs are always the first to go. After the legs, it's the reflexes. After the reflexes, it's the punch resistance. Not always in that order, but something like that. And the last thing to go is the punching power. But if you're fighting Alexander Usyk, you're going to need to be able to cover the canvas quickly because his feet are fast. I know Tyson Fury's got the reach advantage, but when a guy's better coordinated than you and he can move in and out and move his head and he's a southpaw, he can negate the reach. Didn't he do it against Anthony Joshua? I know Tyson Fury is not Anthony Joshua. He's a different fighter, but I think it's a similar principle. He's really going to struggle on the outside against Usyk in my estimation, based on what I've seen of Fury over the past couple years. Maybe he can raise his game to a next level because he feels a threat from Usyk Usyk that he hasn't felt from a fighter in a long time? We will see. But I can only go off what we've seen of him in recent years. And I think he's going to need to apply a lot of pressure, cover the ground quick, rough Usyk up on the inside. And that might be a point of contention right there, obviously. Will the referee permit Tyson Fury to use roughhouse tactics? If he doesn't, and if he's stern with Fury about stuff like that, hey, you could see points come off. You could see a disqualification potentially. And here's one thing that people aren't considering, at least most people from what I've seen. The possibility that Usyk can actually hurt Fury. I don't think it's as far-fetched as some people make it sound. I'm not saying I'm picking Usyk to win by stoppage, but Fury's been dropped by fighters in the past who are not prolific punchers. Steve Cunningham, he wasn't even a big puncher at cruiserweight, but he dropped Tyson Fury heavily, and also Nevin Pajkic. I think he only had about, 4 or 5 knockouts on his record out of about 20-something fights, Nevin Pajkic. And he also dropped Tyson Fury heavily. And at this stage, with all the miles on the clock, with the big punches that Fury's taken in pro fights and also in the gym, surely his punch resistance might be waning. I mean, this is a guy who's been down 6-7 times in his career. He was down against Ngannou. Some people say, well, Ngannou's got really heavy hands. Fury was kind of off balance when the shot landed. Yeah, but maybe it was also a sign of deterioration in Fury in the chin department or punch resistance department. You're going to get some obsessive types in the comments saying he didn't hit him on the chin, he hit him on the temple or on the side, whatever. Punch resistance, right? So if Usyk were to catch him with 2-3 clean shots in quick succession on the chin or on the temple, I wouldn't be surprised if Tyson Fury got hurt or went down. It wouldn't shock me. The same way it wouldn't shock me if Tyson Fury landed a big body shot on Alexander Usyk and put him down. Landing a big shot on Usyk's head is more difficult because of that movement. Usyk is a very good defensive fighter because he's able to stand in front of you and not get hit. People talk about Fury being a good defensive fighter. Yeah, he's got a good defense, but it's nowhere near as good as Usyk's defense. The proof is in the pudding. How many times has Usyk been down as a pro? Yeah, there was the contentious low blow against Dubois. That was to Usyk's abdomen, right? I'm talking about headshots. How many times has Usyk been hit with a headshot and gone down as a pro? Never. Compare it to Fury, who's been down 6-7 times from headshots. Because Usyk isn't getting caught clean like that with headshots. His defense has been that good. Not like he can't get clipped with a headshot, of course, but it's a very difficult thing to do. And I have to imagine Fury's going to find it difficult as well. So anyway, should have ended this video a long time. Leave your comments below. Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.